This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. So, soon-to-be Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer were at the White House yesterday for a budget meeting with Donald Trump, and apparently Donald Trump thought a little pre-meeting tailgate with the press in the room would be a good idea. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Yeah, it seemed that Donald Trump might just be a little too used to dealing with the ass-kissing congressional Republican sycophants in his own party. I say this because Donald Trump went into what can only be described as a publicity stunt gone wrong under the disastrous misapprehension that these two veteran and most senior Democrats in the Congress would bow and scrape and merely say yes sir and no sir in response to his lies and nonsense. I'm only going to play a few of the greatest hits though, because the whole thing was about 16 minutes long and I don't think having that much fun is legal.
Well, we're going to see. Look, we have to have the war. This isn't a question. This is a national emergency. Drugs are pouring into our country. People with tremendous medical difficulty and medical problems are pouring in, and in many cases, it's contagious. They're pouring into our country. We have to have border security. We have to have a wall as part of border security.
All right, let's start right there with the diseased and contagious immigrants line. This is bogus and hateful xenophobic garbage propaganda, which Fox News has been desperate to have catch on. First, they put some dingus named David Ward who claimed that Americans were at grave risk of catching smallpox from members of the same caravan, which seems pretty unlikely since smallpox was all but completely eradicated in 1980. The other person's hate-mongering claptrap that Trump seems to be regurgitating seems to be Little Miss Tuberculosis herself, Tomi Lahren, who claimed that it was a caravan of disease in one of her rants. But would we expect anything less from our Twitter tantrum dingbat of a president than to be merely repeating stupid, baseless things he heard on Fox News? Anyway, the meeting continued.
And I don't think we really disagree so much. I also know that, Nancy's in a situation where it's not easy for her to talk right now, and I understand that, and I fully understand that. We're going to have a good discussion, and we're going to see what happens. But we have to have border security.
Mr. President, please don't characterize the strength that I bring to this meeting as the leader of the House Democrats who just won a big victory.
Elections have consequences.
Let me just say.
That's right. And that's why the country's doing so well.
What the president is representing in terms of his cards over there are not factual. We have to have an evidence-based conversation about what does work, what money has been spent, and how effective it is. This is about the security of our country. We take an oath to protect and defend. And we don't want to have that mischaracterized by anyone.
How great is this? Little Donnie gets told in, by the way, a way too polite manner by Nancy Pelosi that he's lying and we need to gear policy around evidence-based solutions. And what's he do? He folds his arms and pouts like a toddler. He is a cartoon, a stupid, hilarious, and tragic cartoon. Unfortunately, this cartoon has very real power to hurt people with very real lives. And that brings us to the next segment of the conversation in which they discuss a possible Trump shutdown of the government if he's not given $5 billion from the U.S. Treasury for the border wall that Mexico was going to pay for.
One thing I think we can agree on is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute. And you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times Chuck, you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
Of course, you caught the line. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, it's through military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government. Absolutely. Seriously, folks, it's not just Schumer's imagination. Donald Trump makes government shutdown threats all the time. That's not leadership or great negotiating. That's a toddler's tantrum without all the kicking and slightly less screaming.
So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border
But we
security.
believe you shouldn't shut it down.
But
Thank you very much, everybody.
What? What a dipshit. Seriously. Well, here's something. A Trump government shutdown wouldn't just affect the 3 people sitting in that room. A Trump shutdown of the federal government would impact several agencies: the Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, the Department of Interior, Department of State, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, as well as several smaller yet critical agencies. And when they're shut down, it's not just the agency that shuts down. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of real Americans who work in those agencies that are toyed with. Americans with babies and children, car payments, house payments. So threatening to screw with their lives because you're not getting money for an unnecessary wall that you've already promised hundreds of times would be paid for by Mexico, well, that's just asshole-ish. But you know what isn't asshole-ish? The fact that Pelosi and Schumer are offering Donald Trump the same amount of money for border security as last year, which is $1.3 billion, which Senator Schumer stated of that $1.3 billion that was given last year, only roughly 6% of which was spent. So look, this whole fiasco was entertaining and for sure a net loss for Trump. It really goes to show that America is starving for real leadership in the Oval Office. We certainly aren't getting it from Trump, and it seems that they can't keep Mike Pence powered on for long enough to do anything more than hate the gays for a few hours at a time. But keep your head on a swivel, America, because this budget battle is just beginning, and the House majority is going to need your support and activism at the local level at every turn. We don't need or want a wall, and just like anything else with his name on it, a Trump shutdown will be a damn disaster.